Ni hao, collectors of deformed airplanes. So this is a special day on a couple of reasons. The first is this is a freebie. This was designed by an artist, Topgun Chen. So I've reviewed some of his other planes and I did buy those, and he was kind enough to send me a free model. And what's special for Topgun Chen is this is his first mass-produced model. So he designed this, but this is a model manufactured professionally with professional injection molding or whatever machinery by NG Models. NG Models makes realistic-looking 1/400 scale airplanes. And in fact, I actually haven't reviewed that in 1/400 scale. Maybe I'll buy one and there'll be a different video. So this is item Q0001. This is the very first of the Q line by NG Models, but designed by Topgun Chen. So not for people 14 years and younger. It says eco-friendly materials. I wonder what that means. Like, is the model or just the box? Snap fit assembly. Yeah, Sky, whatever. I wouldn't doubt that this is licensed. So you'll probably be seeing these at like airport China Eastern lounges for sale, or airports for sale maybe, or your hobby dealer, because again, this brand does realistic, hyper realistic model airplanes. So there's a point card here if you want to accumulate points on NG Models' website. That's quite interesting. Alright, vacuum form. This is the standard kind of stuff you get when you get collectible die-cast airplanes. So the vacuum stuff obviously works pretty well. I guess we're going to have to put it together before we get into the photo comparisons. I'm going to do this. Ooh, something hopped out. Let's get the stand out of the way. So, nice. It's translucent plastic. It's got this slide thing here. There we go. So that's simple enough. There's no label though. I wonder if there's a sticker or something later on. So this part, let's not lose that. There's some plastic to keep the bubble from scratching up this thing, and more plastic, and that's their standard practice when you collect 1/400 scale airplanes. I'm too lazy, so I'm going to just dump this out. And hopefully that's everything. Looks it. There's no assembly instructions, so let's see if an idiot can put this thing together. I would have to assume it's meant for children to do so, but I do have the mentality of a child. So let's see here. Well, we can inspect the parts while we're putting it together. So with the jumbo engine here, how it's flattened on the bottom, the rotors there that just molded in, no air passing. It's a toy, I think, not a collectible scale model. Although it is looking pretty sweet. This is tampo printed. Although I guess all toys, they can't run decals because children will eat them. The silver rim of the engine looks pretty good. Back here, silver. And then the flaps are in the down position as if it's landed or landing. Okay, flaps down, and it's some sort of 919L, so that's the left wing, I guess. That makes sense. Some sort of air deflecting wing there. This is all plastic, what I'm holding. But this is kind of heavy, so I don't know. I think this is resin or plastic. It's not metal. It's not heavy enough to be metal, but it's solid. So I think it's plastic, just solid. Alright, well, looking at the fuselage, yeah, your standard scale collectible tampo printing crispness that NG would be known for. So, yeah, the window frames, the windows perfectly centered, really crisp edges, no weird, paint defects, and that's because NG Model made this and not Greenlight. Alright, Sky Team thing looks good. Yeah, very crisp printing. But imagine if this was 10 times smaller. That's what the windows would look like on some of their smaller realistic planes. Yeah, so windshield here, or whatever, front windows. Yeah, look at how crisply painted it is. It's pretty impressive, actually. I mean, I'm zoomed in, you can see my fingerprints. Little loading door, all the regular loading door, passenger doors. Okay, so yeah, it's a solid chunk. I wonder if this is like eco-friendly plastic. don't know if it makes sense to put these in first or last or what. I guess that's what's making sense to me. So there's this tab, and it does fit, but it's not. Well, yeah, I'm actually surprised it didn't fall out. Let me back out the camera. So it's just a little loose, but clearly you saw it hold the weight of the thing. So I gotta say, it's a nice tight fit because we have plastic on plastic fits, not die cast. If that was die cast, it'd probably be gappier. And yeah, now I'm noticing the wings are gray and white tipped, and the leading edge out here is silver tipped. So nice paint apps. Vertical horse rudder. There's a little notch here, like a tooth. So I think once this goes in, I'm wondering if it. I don't see a recess, so maybe it can be removed. Now that's a much tighter fit. And so the panel gaps of the rudder, that's pretty nice. Again, tampo printing of the China Eastern logo looks good. So now this one is a little loose. You might want to put some poster putty in there if it bothers you, or just glue it in place. Alright, these rear wings, painted gray, nicely detailed. Really glossy, smooth paint job. You see, you have a square LED above us, and look at the reflection. It's so straight edged. Very impressive. This might be a side landing gear, and yeah, that does roll. Are these plastic? I think they're plastic, which is good because you don't want rubber tires. Rubber, even the fake rubber, goes bad eventually. This has an R, so I guess you know what side it goes on. And essentially the letter is facing the back, and this little strut rests in this little recess here. That's quite loose though. I do feel maybe you want to glue some of these parts. Yeah, that's super loose. Let's see how the other one feels first. I might go and glue all these things after. Yeah, that's quite loose also. Now the front landing gear. That one's a little tighter. That one's fine. It does roll as well. You have the linkages and stuff there. Oh, I see. These are little blanking panels if you want to put in flight mode. So what's this? See, the landing gear fell out. Yeah, so if you really want to play with it, it will roll. And as that falls out again, I'll go to flight mode anyways, so let's just get rid of those. I suppose now would be a good time to look at this photograph. Look at how foreshortened that is. It's fantastic. Yeah, so proportionally it looks like this is relatively normal. The engines might be, well, they're even shortened down quite a bit. But the fuselage is just fantastically deformed. I like it. Very neat. Alright, so let's, well, I guess look at that as well. I also like how the wings are not as long. I almost feel like they could have been even shorter, just to make it even more unrealistic. Oh, the rear end, so it does have this metallic paint here for whatever that port is. I don't know what that is. Is that an exhaust for like some sort of small motor to heat up the cabin or something? Not sure. Alright, let's... Boy, I am a little worried about putting these things in, if they will come out or not again. Oh, I see. So they left a little gap for the front cover, at least. And that's probably what the push pin is for, is to pry this out later. But what about this? Man, that's really small. Yeah, alright. So this as well, there's a little index there. I almost feel like they maybe shouldn't have the index. But if I gotta take some tweezers just to get that in the right position. That one doesn't really want to go in. Maybe oh, there's a little extra plastic on it, that's why. Or maybe there's a left and right. I almost lost that. So small. almost rolled off the table and it would have been lost forever. Yeah. So these little pieces are gonna drive kids and adults crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't want to sit flush. I feel maybe the paint's too thick or something. Alright, well, let's just pretend those stayed in there. And let's put this on the flight stand and let this go for a spin around the flying. Alright, yeah, it's pretty neat. The stand is quite tall, but I guess you can look under it easier that way. I do like how the engines are detailed like that. So let's see now how easy it is to get this panel out. So the thumbtack, what I'm afraid of is since this is plastic, or even if it was metal, you're gonna dent it. Alright, so that flicked out at high speed, so you might be careful about that. So whenever I have loose parts, I generally like to just put in some poster putty because it doesn't mess up paint. It doesn't seem to harden. It's like an inert putty of plastic, almost like silly putty, I guess. Well, that's too much of this stuff in here, so apparently this, even though it's loose, it's still pretty tight. Not too loose. Just put it around the edge maybe to thicken this up. I also think that's the wrong side, so. No, I'll be back. I decided to just put some school glue in there. Wingspan of this thing is around 13.5 centimeters, or like 5.5 inches. Alright, so that's all I care about, the width of it. Let's compare it to a few other things by Topgun Chen. So this designer is fantastic. He makes the best 3D printed models, I think, of deformed airplanes, which is a really niche thing, of course, but look how small this BF-109 is. It actually has a pilot in there with a magnetic head, clear windows, great color separation, just fantastic. So that's quite small, of course. On the larger side of things, here's an SU-34, I think it is. I think it's the Flanker D. I forget which Sukhoi it is, but it's awesome. This one actually has two pilots in there. And so now, you can see this thing is kind of in between as far as sizing goes. In fact, the width of this is similar to a 1/400 scale airplane. Well, at least a larger one. But unfortunately, again, I don't have said airplane in 1/400 scale. Hasegawa has this Boeing 747, and yeah, it's very small. It's like as small as this thing. So let's get these warplanes out of here. Yeah, so this is clearly a bit bigger. I almost wish this was smaller, but I think maybe if it's aimed for kids, it's the perfect size. So while that's spinning around, there's a little bonus model review here. So Topgun Chen has this 3D printed TLD TMX250, which is back here in these photographs here. And it's kind of a goofy looking vehicle in reality. But this is a pushback pull tow barless tractor. So it's meant to move these commercial airplanes around on the tarmac there. Let me change the angle here because this is actually quite detailed. I never reviewed this because I had nothing to really use it for. It's too small for the military jets. This is only 3 centimeters long primarily, this body. Maybe like 3.5, 4 with the toe things. So very small, and it's a little bit tuned. So the wheels seem to be decals. Not really a fan of that, but at least they're nice decals. The tires are nicely rounded and very tuned. They're very wide, but then a little tread action there. We have some nice decals here. I paid to have this painted. You can buy raw model kits and stuff of it, but I don't have time, no patience to really do model kits all the time. So, okay, so the door handles are decal. We have some venting with the logo there. This little mirror is very neat. It's black. This is all brittle 3D printed plastic though, so be careful. I think I added some silver paint on the mirror. Decals for the lights registration plate, and TLD. Nice little hookups for the tow bar. Even the little handle to pull it out with your hand. And then you got this mirror facing down because the driver wants to see this thing, moving around, I guess. And then it's got a wiper blade there, really delicate looking. And you'll see the windows, they're like thin packaging plastic, so they're very clear, very nice. Yeah, the side mirror out there looks okay. What is this? Some, I don't know, decal remnants. You can see the layers of the 3D print process, so many layers to make this thing. I assume maybe a fuel filler or a charge port. Alright, so that all looks nice. Around to the back we have a fire extinguisher with the hose, a decal, some TLD branding again, plate, some warnings, another hookup, and another mirror to look at the hookup. Some venting details as decals, some other decals which I really don't know what they are. So anyways, it's pretty neat. It's got a metallic orange little painted warning light up there and some sort of sunroof or skylight to maybe look up the bottom of a plane. Didn't come with a tow bar though. Alright. Here we have an image of it. I guess maybe it's an initial showing or something to attract investors. It's not an airline livery, it's a Comac livery, and that might be a TLD TMX250. So anyways, I wouldn't be surprised if NG Model maybe makes this livery. It's very colorful, I rather like it. Yeah, all in all, it's great stuff as usual by Topgun Chen. Really cool deformation. And that's nice to see, a commercial brand, NG Models, making his designs, because, the 3D printing is nice and all, but it's never going to be as smooth as injection molded products. Granted, these are painted, but even a raw injection molded product is smoother than any sort of 3D printed product, at least today. It's getting better though. 3D printers are definitely getting better. At some point in time, the resolution will be so smooth that you won't be able to tell it's 3D printed, but still a few years away, I think, at least for normal people to buy machines. Maybe fairly soon commercial products that are 3D printed will be just as smooth, but they probably won't be glossy. Maybe. Well, then again, maybe some of the clear parts are. Alright, I'm sorry to wander off on tangents. Alright, I cannot say enough good stuff about this thing, because all the printed details are fantastic. I suppose you could maybe put a paint wash into the engines, and maybe I might add some jewel beads under the front landing gear, because I didn't really discuss it, but there's two little things here for the lights of the landing gear. So maybe I'll put a jewel bead there. I'm glad that it doesn't have rubber tires. A lot of 1/400 scale model airplanes have rubber tires, and they crack off, they break. It's not good to make things out of rubber. Alright, well, thank you for watching today, and we'll see you the next time we do a deformed airplane.